Okay, it looks like we are live. Hell yeah. Uh, my Spotify subscription ran out and I'm not going to renew it yet, so I'm probably gonna have to pull up some background music on YouTube, but let me post this link here on Blue Sky so folks know that I'm live there. Freaking awesome thumbnail. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I'm gonna pause that stream on my preview so that doesn't take up bandwidth. Looks like everything's looking good. If you hear a whooshing sound in the background, that is my AC. It is kind of warm today, but honestly not that bad. Might be kind of weird as audio goes, so apologies for that. Let's see if I can get. Here, actually, let me pull up some music here. Do 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 do. Bum 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 bum. Let's pull some up on YouTube. 3 hours of the most beautiful songs. Beautiful's in all caps, so they must be good. Turn that down a little bit, and this doesn't need to be HD, so let's turn this all the way down to 140p. There we go. How's everything going? Y'all hearing okay? Certified epic cow moment. I will be tagging all of my friends. Hell yeah. Let me know if the music is too loud or if my voice isn't loud enough. Can you up your voice? You're a bit quiet. I can definitely do that. Let me go here and, so I already have my gain up turned pretty high on here, so let me go to OBS. Bump this up, and I'm gonna turn the music down like this, or actually, do this, and then I'll just turn down the volume on my end. Oof. Okay, I think that should be a good balance. How's that? Is that better? There might be a bit of delay on my end in terms of when you're hearing, or delay on your end of when I'm talking here, but let's get started. Hell yeah. In that case, I'm gonna get started. So today, I'm going to be doing some experimentation for a potential project I want to try doing. I've had a couple ideas on the back burner. I imagine a lot of y'all have seen the goat Yuri thing that I was testing out for a while. That idea is still one I think has a lot of potential, but for now, I want to try something that is a little bit easier for me to produce without a lot of the specific things that I think are necessary for that project to work. And so today we're going to be doing some concept art for a project that I'm calling Bring Yourself Back. This is a sort of faux game idea that I've had for a very long time, and it's one that I think has a lot of potential in terms of the storytelling that's implied with its concept. But before I get into explaining the plot, my eyes light up like the Iron Giant when you said, Yuri, I'm locked in. I will be creating much more Yuri. Do not worry there. What was that guy's name? Let me look this guy up. Let's see. So let me keep my head by the mic while I'm talking. So a lot of y'all, I imagine, have heard of Petscop. It's this unfictioned project that was both popular and finished to completion, I believe, a couple years ago. Finished to completion. Weird way of saying it. And a while back, they created something called 3D Workers Island, and this will be relevant to what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to link this in the chat if y'all want to check this out. It is free to experience. And it is formatted in a way that I find really interesting because it is essentially it's a slideshow, more or less. You just go through and you click, and each page is its own part of the story. And it's formatted in a way that both gives you necessary information while also putting you in an environment that is very open to interpretation in terms of how the island itself is presented. And in this case, I want to try something similar in its formatting to that, just like a slideshow that has the appearance of a game. And with that, I can start talking about the actual plot itself here. So let me open up a new tab. There is going to be drawing, but there is also going to be a lot of yapping just because I want to just get these words out somewhere. So the way I see it is, let's draw a castle here, make this look all spooky. Yeah, that's what castles look like. Oh, and also while I'm yapping about this, if y'all have any just questions in general that you want to bug me with, not bug me, you know what I mean. Sorry, that you're curious about, let me know. As long as I'm live, add some brickwork here. Oh shit, nice. Do you need extra animators on board for this project, or is this more of a solo thing? Right now, this is going to be a solo project. I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about this being a very labor-intensive thing. Here we go. Castle. That's a castle. And then let's put it on a mountain. Add some trees. And a valley. And put this in the background, put a fountain here. That fountain will be important. Then put a town over here. And some roads. Okay, so here's the premise. The idea is you are a ghost. You won't look like this, but that's what ghosts look like. And you are the ghost of an unknown figure at this point that was up here and fell all the way down and just kind of plopped right here. And you, as the ghost or the spirit of this person, doesn't have any memories of your life as whoever this is, but there's a note that says bring let me zoom in here so I can actually write normally. And then we'll draw the fountain in. You find a note on your body requesting your ghost without your memories to bring you back up to this fountain, because it's the fountain of life, basically. So let me give the fast version of this again, just that y'all know what I'm talking about, because this is mostly just going to be me kind of explaining this idea. Well, not mostly. I'll still be doing drawing and stuff. I'm just how do I say this? This is the story of a character who is trying to bring themselves back to life. Their ghost is tethered to them after death for a brief period of time. I'm thinking like a couple hours to maybe less than a day at most. And during that time, they have to, because they're tethered to the body and thus can, with enough force, kind of scooch them along, drag them all the way back up here. And during that time, they're going to encounter other ghosts and have conversations with them. So you start here, you meet like Ghost A, Ghost B, Ghost C, and then get to the town. You have to like, I don't know, Weekend at Bernie's your way through, and then eventually make your way back up to the castle. And during that time, that ghost is going to try to learn more about themselves and whether or not the person that they were before is a person they would want to continue to be into the future. Like, is this the kind of like if I bring myself back, is this someone I want to be? Which I think gives me a lot of creative potential to talk about, like, you know, what it means to like decide what kind of person you want to be. And also, I think it creates some fun narrative conflict in terms of like, what if by the end of this their goals don't align anymore? Again, this is all very vague. This is all just the sort of roots of an idea, and this stream is going to be me kind of digging around and seeing if I can make this a bit more solid. Does that make sense? It's these were some early passes at the main character. In this version, they're like a little elf guy, and these, like, this would be like the body basically. Like, this is the body, and these would be the sort of the hand of the ghost, as it were. Like, you know, like the idea is like you would just kind of grab the body and then just kind of yoink it in whichever direction. But that's back when I thought this was going to be like a playable game, but then I realized I do not want to have to code that, so that's why I'm going to go with the slideshow method. Yeah, if y'all have any questions or want me to clarify anything, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to start doing some like main character concept sketches. Let's see. Where's my... Where did I put this? So more of a visual novel kind of feeling, like Slay the Princess. Kind of, yeah. I do really love Slay the Princess because of how it's... What was that weird kind of kuss sound I made there? Because of the voice acting and the sheer variety of paths that story can take. Personally, I think this is going to be more linear with the slideshow format, but I do like that broad interactivity in terms of the directions that story can go. Funnily enough, as much as I loved that game, I ended up really only finishing it once. I picked a path that I thought made sense because I realized early on, like, and this won't have any spoilers, but early on that there's ways to get the princess to do something that leads to what could be described as an ending of that loop. And I realized that if I get the princess to the end of each unique loop, then that leads to like the end of the story. So I just did that, and I reached the end, and it was really nice. But I never really felt compelled to go revisit the project again afterwards, because I felt like I got what I wanted from that like singular experience. I feel like this needs to have a little bit more. What do I want this character to look like? Because this art style I want to be simple, so that I'm not like setting myself up to do a lot of complicated character designs later on. But I also don't want it to be like boring and overly simplistic at the same time. Let's try. Because the ghost version I think is going to look different than the body, so let's. So I just finished playing, or not playing, I finished watching a playthrough of In Stars in Time. So, and it reminded me how much I love little guys that look like this. So they are going to look similar in that regard. That's fair. I know other VNs have the core chapters and then branch out to other endings depending on the choices you make, like Katawa Shoujo. Yeah, I know about Katawa Shoujo. That's really sweet. Or at least from what I remember. But yeah, I think branching stories are nice, but I almost kind of appreciate the linear, like a linear story more, just because I feel like you have to like really work to curate something. And I don't know. I think about like whether or not like are you trying to make a story that can appeal to one person multiple ways, or a story that can appeal to different people if different people are more likely to make different choices. And I'm not entirely sure how to make something that appeals there. I don't know. This feels a little too Red Riding Hood. I'm going to pull up some reference images, actually. What do I have in my reference folders? Or I guess I would be more accurate to call them like inspiration folders. Because there's a lot of like I tried to like I'm not going to show these on stream because I don't want to like show other people's artwork without their permission. But lately I've been trying to make sure that if I'm saving images for reference or for inspiration, that I'm properly like categorizing them depending on who made them, so that if anyone asks in the future like, oh, who gave you this idea, I can better cite that stuff. Let's see here. How long have I been streaming for? Probably not very long, like 20 minutes? Yeah, I haven't done a lot for that, but let's start. This was a very impromptu thing, by the way. There's a couple artists I know that give their characters spiky hair like this. I have OBS open still? Yeah. Again, if y'all have any questions or anything, that'd be good while I'm looking for stuff. Okay, I think I found something. Let's try this. I'm still not sure if I want these to be anthro characters or like humans in terms of like the main cast. But let's test out anthro first. I'm saying anthro instead of furry. I don't actually know why. I just realized as I was saying it, like, oh, I guess it kind of depends. Actually, let's give them rounder eyes like this. And then let's give them big hood. Big. Oops, someone sent me a DM. I'll read that in a little bit here. Do I want to give them horns? Maybe I should give them different kind of ears. Because I give a lot of characters floppy ears. Well, I feel like I kind of want the main character to be a cow, actually. I hope I didn't leave the chat part open. What game engine have you picked out for this, or is this still an early concept stage? It's going to be very early concept still. I think what it's going to end up being is going to be... It's going to have the aesthetic of a game, but maybe not like a full like game. No, now as much as I love how like character has the big ol' schnoz, I want the expressions to be a bit more clear, and that can get in the way. What kind of creature do I want this to be? Because I already have the goat set aside for a different thing. Actually, yeah, let's give them floppy ears. Gonna try to make them not look like my version of like Ralsei or something. Not that this really looks like Ralsei yet. Actually, let me delete this and give them a more defined little schnoz, little snout thing. There we go, and then let's give them kind of a concerned, sort of like vaguely upset expression like this. Maybe not horns. I kind of want them to have hair, but what kind? Because this would be their ghost form, so I feel like that can give me a bit more flexibility in terms of how the hair connects to the rest of the body. No spikes. If I just have this go up here, then I can just erase this. And then... because having these like solid silhouettes, I think are really good in terms of having clarity to parts of the design without cluttering things. Kind of like what I've been doing with my Sona for video thumbnails. Or just like the little doodles where it's mostly just like a silhouette. And it's like they're a ghost, so that gives me flexibility there too. And then erase more of this, and then I can go through and like do like a slightly different version. Actually, no little tufts. Let's do like that. Just kind of. Last time you went live was when you had the cow flu. I think I might have been sick at the time. I don't know. I think sometimes I hope I didn't sound... oh, right. Yeah, I sounded a bit sick then. But I was trying to power through it for the sake of the voice acting. I'm curious as for what is being started. Sorry, let me get my thoughts together again here. It was 2 months ago. I swear I am doing art things while I'm absent. They're just not things I can really talk about here because I'm working with other people for them, and I hinted them a little bit in other stuff I've done, but I can't really talk about it. Nose reduction to be more expressive. Happens to the best of them. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I do like the schnoz a lot in with my characters, but sometimes you just need to give them more room. But for the person who asked, this is going to be uh, essentially a story told through a slideshow that resembles a game. So you won't need like a game engine to experience or read it, but it's going to be formatted in a way where it's like you're just kind of flipping from like one page to the next. Look up 3D Workers Island. I linked it in the chat here if you want to give that a look and see, because that'll make a lot more sense than me trying to explain the format again. Oh, I can't do that. Let me do something that's different than Siffrin in Stars in Time, because I'm trying to not just rip them off here. But I have given characters this specific like hood and jacket kind of look before. It's a good look. And there we go. So let's try to make this like a full body thing now. Actually, here, let me just there. And let's move this over here. I find it funny how people can actually do stuff while absent. I could never. Well, the thing is, it takes me a concerningly long. Oh shit! Wrong button. It takes me way too long to find the motivation to do a lot of the projects I have in mind. So I try to. I try to like give myself a bit of a boost sometimes to like get myself into the groove of things. I'm gonna draw them without their hood so I can work on body type and stuff. Like they're gonna be kind of cheapy-fied for the actual game. Do you jump between drawings often? Start something, get distracted by a new idea or something, return to it, do something else halfway through, the return again? Oh boy, that is so me for real. God, I try my best to not be like an ideas guy, because I know that like it's not useful to constantly just be having ideas that you're not at least trying to enact. But I'm gonna make this person non-binary. But fuck, what was I saying? I was saying something about ideas. Because I have a lot of ideas, I try to find like what's the common thread between all of them, and then that's usually what I end up exploring, rather than trying to enact one specific idea. I let a lot of them sort of simmer in the back of my mind until something more concrete forms. I'm always scared that someone is expecting me to have something to show after a month of nothing, when I was actually collecting dust and mold on the floor. I do have my dust and mold days, or must and dole. That's how I speak apparently. Dust and mold. I have those months too, and especially with other platforms like TikTok, and I guess here on YouTube, where I'll have like a brief stint of motivation that leads to a couple really good projects, and then I end up just sort of hitting a wall like I posted about before. I think I just want to give them like ball hands because I don't want to have to deal too much with fingers. And this is gonna be like fluff. Nah. I want to make them skinny. I have many a big booba OC, so I think I'm gonna keep this dude a little. Not dude. This them a little. Oh, hi, hello, hi. Hello. Sorry, I blanked after I started reading that. ADHD hits hard, save here. I just restrict myself to distractions like removing socials from my taskbar, make it harder for me to access. I've tried that, but it's very much the frog and toad, but we could open the box of cookies type thing, where it's like, yeah, I can set up restrictions for myself, but because I'm the one who set up the restrictions, I'm also I can also just as easily undo them, which makes like restricting those a lot harder. I'm gonna limit some of this stuff here. Because they are a ghost, so I don't want them to be overly. I think something. Let me try this. I think I need even more. Gotta bring this up a little higher. Oh, new chat. I've been reconsidering my stay on most social media, mostly because I'm not feeling connected anymore. Maybe then I'll be able to go back to finishing a project. If that helps for you, then yeah, like I'd say go for it. Like something I think is important is finding connection that is more, I'm gonna say intimate, but I don't mean intimate in like that way, like more personal, because a lot of times social media is good for, it helps you feel seen, and it helps you be aware and be conscious of what's happening around you, but it can also be very overwhelming, which is something I've been experiencing a lot lately too. But it's just a question of like, how much do you want to restrict access to something like that? Because I do think it is important to know more about the world, but it is also important to know when to give yourself space. Okay, I think I like this. And I can this, and do I want to give them a tail? How are we feeling, chat? Tail or no tail for this guy? Yeah, my missus has that problem with her commissions as well, but big motivator is paying the bills, lol. Also a bit with me, but I can lock the fuck in for my editing clients. We'll probably only keep my socials in case my merch shop becomes a thing. Otherwise, I don't feel like I have friends there, and I don't want to worry about the bad stuff. That's fair. I think having like a store to promote, I think, is good. I know a couple folks who did really well or have done really well on TikTok and stuff. Mostly just using it to promote like their Patreon or a store, but not necessarily being so drawn to the platform that they need to be on there outside of it. And I also know there's programs you can use that will post automatically on a lot of different platforms for you, so you can be consistent without having to be present. But I also know that sometimes the formatting won't always be the same, or if you want to add accessibility features like image descriptions and stuff, it isn't always the same. I work on feelings only, and I feel like a tail would look good. Have you ever felt like you want to do something dumb, but then you think about when you do it, and people either think and say, what the actual flip-flop tip-top fuck is this person doing? Give them a little tough tail. I think a little tough tail sounds good. This is some Super Mario music. But yeah, I know what you mean. Something I do occasionally is I'll make what I call curveball posts, where I'll throw something at my audience that I don't think they would see coming, but I find interesting. And it's less to gauge their reaction, because the reaction is most likely going to be, what are you doing? But okay, I like Fluffy Tail. But it helps me feel more comfortable with that kind of experimenting, and gets me out of the mindset that like everything has to be perfect. I don't think this character's gonna have a name, or maybe they should have a name, but oh, you don't have to apologize. I know there's a delay between the chat and me responding to people, so don't worry about that. Worry about how much fun you're having and not worry about people's opinion is how I roll. I want to try selling stuff with art instead of art itself, because I realize that I don't like doing comms. So I want to try making stuff with art I want to do, and people might want to have for them. Also, very nice flip tail. It's giving Asriel Dreamer in it. Yeah, I know. I know it's giving Asriel, but they don't own. Toby Fox doesn't own goats. This looks like the Cult of the Lamb person. I don't think this is a goat character. I think they are a non-species specific fluffball thing. Whatever if someone asks like what kind of species they are and they name off more than one, the answer is yes. Because they are a ghost, and I can make a ghost look however I want. Let me make them look fluffier. And then I'll start doing some outfits and stuff, and maybe think about what kind of lore I want to give them. Because ultimately what they're doing is I have to get my body back to a thing, and I have to decide what they were doing and whether or not they would want to continue doing it. Let's see here. Make them look a little bouncier. Little guyify them. There we go. And let's make this a new canvas, actually, I think. Edit, copy, file, create from clipboard. And this is going to give me some space to do some experimenting. I gotta go. Oh, you have a great day. Okay, let's duplicate this and move this a couple times. Oh, shit, I deleted it instead of duplicate. They're right next to each other. There we go. And let's flatten all of these and let's start doing some clothes designs. Because I think I want them to be more feminine leaning in their presentation. I'm thinking fantasy setting, but I'm not too committed to any particular sort of area. Try big pants and no, I don't like that. Something that a friend of mine did for their webcomic, Timegate Reaper, was using bandages as a sort of like top like this, which I always found it kind of cool. Something under the big coat. I could just assume there's like a hole in the back for the tail. How about a big flowy oversized shirt? Yeah, let's give that a try. That's kind of what I was thinking with like the jacket here that just kind of covers their whole top basically. Let's do this and then I don't think they'll have their hood up at any point. Maybe it should be more just... Well, I want it to be an actual hood, so let's... And then... do this, go down here, and then like have it split off, I think. Kind of opens up like that towards the bottom, maybe. Then do this. Pull this one down a little more. And then add some more flow to the edges here, and then there we go. Oh, more chats. Let me go back here. I'm always so curious to how people can experiment with multiple clothes for characters. I never managed to get a good result from wanting to, only when it comes to me in a dream or something. And yeah, I feel like for me, it's less that I'm experimenting with like a wide variety of clothes, but instead I'm looking for things that I already like and I'm sort of mixing and matching things that already fit that, rather than trying to create something like new from scratch. It's like I like characters with like big coats, so let's put a big coat on them, rather than what is good for this character that I can think of with ahead of time. And what was this? What if they had a navy blue and white outfit with a bunch of very royal themes, but with some goth ghostly themed sprinkled like a Monster High character? How about a flower crown? Leaves in fluffy hair, perhaps? This outfit kind of reminds me of every first D&D character. Yeah, this is pretty D&D, I think. I kind of like the idea of giving them like a regal look. I don't know if I want them to be like royalty though. Because with the story, I think there is an in a very standard fantasy way, there is this ruling aristocracy that has been using a fountain of life to allow themselves to rule for far longer than any people should be able to, because they can always just dunk themselves and stay alive for like another however long. So I don't necessarily want to have them be a participant in that system, but maybe just be aware of it, and they know that like, oh, if I die, there is a brief period of time where I can still accomplish my goals if the version of me that exists after death is aware and can get me back. What other outfits could I give them? Big coat and big pant are huge for character design. Yeah, they're an essential part of the process. Yeah, let's give them. Also, I didn't know how to word it, so I just said royal. No, I know what you mean. Don't worry. Hoi hoi, just dropped in. What's this? This is a character concept for a project that I want to start developing. It is called, let me find the screenshot. It is called Bring Yourself Back. It is about a ghost bringing their body to the fountain of life so that their body can do whatever it is they were planning on doing before they died. And the ghost doesn't know what that is or who they were. So they just kind of have to decide like, oh, is this something I actually want to help with? Or is this going to be bad? What's a third outfit that I can give them? Because I kind of want to decide what the body itself was wearing. Because originally, if I look at my old screenshots here, you could see that this is kind of the look they had. Actually, let me add some of that to this, maybe. Yeah, I like that. But I don't know if I want the body itself to also have that. Wish I had advice or suggestions for the character design, so I'll just be watching and saying stupid stuff sometimes if you all don't mind. No, please keep doing it. Can you bring back the awesome cow thumbnail art for a sec? It was cool. Yeah, I think I have it open right here. Yeah, this is, let me put all this in a folder so I can reveal the bottom part. Like, this was the original. I don't know what game this is. I wish I remember. I'm so bad with names, but it's like one of those. It'll be a battle for do I want myself alive, even if I don't know how or why I lived. Interesting. I like it. Yeah, like I think it has potential, but I also want to make sure that when I'm addressing subjects like this, I want to be Sorry, let me remember what they said here. Big scarf or big fluffy coat, wintry vibes. Winter, I think, would be a good setting for this. Let's give them that. But yeah, like I want to make sure that if I'm addressing subject matter like that, I'm doing so in a way that doesn't put people in an uncomfortable space, or at least not in an uncomfortable space, but maybe not one that's like potentially like triggering for some people. Ghosty Pal needs to vibe check the flesh bag to see if they want to go back to living La Vida Loca. I'm screenshotting that. That's such a good... I'm sorry. I need to have this saved. That's such a good line. Thank you for putting those words in that order. Okay, and then... Oh, wrong thing. And put this here, and then give now they're giving like Mr. Tumnus. Maybe they should be like a satyr and they just, well, I guess I should probably give them pants. Actually, let me just copy and paste these pants over. Because I really like the pants with this bow here, and I think I would just want to keep those for the above world design, and then maybe the version with just like the bandage top could be like their I'm out doing stuff fit. Maybe they're just a bandit. Are they giving bandit? I don't think they're sneaky enough for that. Let me... Sorry, I gotta clear my throat there. I love big scarf characters, same. In exploring that idea, they can discover the wonders of being and having been alive. Being a ghost is pretty sick, but they'll learn to want their life again. I don't know if I necessarily want them to learn to want their life again, because sometimes I think in a ghost story, being accepting of having moved on is also valuable, and I want that to be expressed through other ghost characters that can both remember their old lives but still appreciate like the marching forward of time without them. The first outfit reminds me of the Sand Shark level of Split Fiction. Since it was one of my fave parts of the game, I'm inclined to vibe with it. Hell yeah, that's a sad way of doing it. Yeah, and let's... So I think this will be like the version of them that maybe exists in here. Oh, they should have like a satchel or something. Let's give them a satchel, like a just like a bag or something that has supplies in it that I think the ghost could use, like weaponry or tools if they need to use stuff that's like on their person. And then maybe like a belt. Let's make this a little... No patches, I think. Okay, I think I'm vibing with these looks. They're simple. Let me erase some of this so that we can get... And then I think the ghost form could also just be like... me see if there's new stuff in chat. I love the design. Thank you. It's a reference to BFDI or Battle for Dream Island. I don't know anything about Battle for Dream Island. Okay, maybe not their life, but they might want a life again. I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. Imagine that there was a big bug in the bag that could help throughout the journey. That could be fun. It could be a thing of duty versus comfort. Duty in relearning their mission, comfort in letting go and accepting they had their chance and literally cannot be held to dedicate more than a lifetime to it. Yeah. It's one of those themes that I think has a lot of potential. But there's also the question of what that means for them, because something I might do during this stream too is there is a really good character sheet that actually let me pull it up here because this will be relevant. Oh, I'm an hour in. No, I'm gonna keep going. I'm feeling hyped. I haven't been this motivated creatively in a while, so I'm not gonna stop anytime soon. Did I take a screenshot of it, or did I? Oh, here it is. Let's pull these in. I like stories with ghost characters that are about the characters spectating how the people from their life are dealing with it. A memorias postumus de Bras Cubus sort of deal. Unrelated to what you're doing, I believe so. I mean, I think that could be fun. I'm not... Again, there's a lot of stuff about this character I don't know yet. And part of this stream is working to learn about it. The posthumous memoirs... What is this? Also translated as Epitaph of a Small Winner is a novel by Brazilian writer Joaquim Maria. This looks really fun. I'm gonna give this a read. But here's the character sheet that I was talking about before. And I think I might spend some time digging around in this space. So I'm not going to bother with character name, but the way they framed it is that the character has a core urge. In order to survive and get my needs met, I must blank. And the origin of it is usually some sort of external event, and then there's a stated belief or the lie. This is what they tell other people. Rebirth to end the process. Oh, weird. Something popped up. Rebirth and the process to rebirth is going to be a central thing to this. Kind of, yeah. Funnily enough, Dude, That's My Ghost is kind of a cartoon that deals with all of that too. It doesn't take the premise seriously at all that much, if I remember correctly. It does have Dude in the title. I feel like that does sound like something where they aren't taking it super seriously. How much of this? I want to talk about this sort of thought process for stories, but I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So I'm trying to think of like what's a story I could use to talk about this. I don't know why, but I'm thinking about like Rapunzel, I guess. Like Rapunzel from like Tangled. What is the lie that they tell themselves? I don't know. I am maybe not in story analysis brain mode yet. Kind of hit a wall there. Let's focus on the character then. what lie could they be telling themselves? You know what? That's important. I think I should think about this for a bit. Obfuscation is hard. Yeah. I think the possibility of wanting to be alive again, or the possibility of getting that, is a solid motivator. I think that'd be a good motivator if this were like a playable game and not whatever version of this I end up making, because I don't know how to make games that well, but that is a good external motivator for a player. But a character motivation, that's very different. Maybe they lied to themselves by telling them they were a good person and that they need to get their body back to... But in reality, they were a horrible person. Maybe. I like the idea of... Because, like, that was something that was very present in Disco Elysium. I mean, in that one, you didn't really have the assumption of being a good person, but... more contending with the reality of being a horrible one, and like, as the game so eloquently put, not wanting to be that kind of animal anymore. Like, if you haven't played Disco Elysium, it is incredible. I highly recommend it. But like, that sort of idea of wanting to move past like a self-destructive nature, I think ultimately, like, the plot that I think makes the most sense in terms of, like, external motivation for the character could be destroying the Fountain of Life. Because if a ruling class has been using it to live for thousands of years and essentially using it to, like, rule with an iron fist, the motivation to destroy it is obvious, but then the necessity of having to use it yourself in order to complete that goal could also be a really fun contradiction in that motivation. Character motion could also be to want to change from their alive self but still want their body back. They come to resent their old self from the perspective of being a ghost. Yes, 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 that is good. Sorry, I'm screenshotting that line too, because that's a good one. There we go. Being a ghost changes a man or a person in general. I'm not gatekeeping. Yeah, I thought this would be a good way to explore a potential, like, trans theme. Because I'm thinking, like, what if this was either, like I said, non-binary before, but, like, in terms of like physical presentation, I could go in a couple different directions too, of maybe, I mean, I guess none of this is set in stone, but if I wanted them to be more like masculine or feminine or identify a certain way, they barely exist right now, so I have time to do that. But, or maybe just realizing they are non-binary or something. And then realizing, like, oh, this version of myself isn't in line with my... Like, the ghost version of them is more honest. You're making me want to make a ghost OC? Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. They could want to revive themselves to destroy the fountain, a mission to get back into the castle and destroy the fountain from the inside, and the ruling class is old. You are far from the only ghost. Oh, there's going to be a lot of other ghosts, but I think for a lot of them, it also depends on how long you're tethered to a ghost and how far away you are. Because the way I see it, where's my map sketch? It's one of these. I have too many tabs open. Here it is. the way I see it is, let me hide these. A ghost is like tethered to a person for, get them pants. Say a ghost is like tethered to a person for, let's say, 3 hours. If you're, or maybe not 3 hours, let's say 12 hours. I think 12 is probably good. Just arbitrarily like half a day. And you can like kind of move your body. Getting to the fountain on top of a mountain is not likely for a lot of people. Like, covering that distance would take a lot of motivation and also the knowledge that it's there. Because I could also see this as the fountain not being public knowledge. Please tell me you have to pass a blindly loyal ghost. Someone so loyal they defend the fountain from you, even in death. Their prime instinct. What does tethered mean? I like the idea of there being like a physical link between like a ghost and their body for a period of time after death. And the ghost can like interact with things while it's tethered. Like, you know that Paranormal Activity thing where a ghost will like move something a little bit? It's like that, but the body also has to be nearby. So there's like a radius of space where the ghost can't move away from their body, and also within that space they can interact with items. So, and then once a set of time has passed, like the difference between like maybe like whenever some part of their body like officially stops, and maybe it just lasts longer. If not, no, wait, sorry. I read what you said, and then I saw the what does tethered mean, so I paused to answer that. I really like the idea of a ghost guard. I think that would be really cool. Of a ghost that like desperately wants to maintain this, not because they know why, but because they think they have to. But yeah. So, but yeah, tether is kind of like will be my justification for a lot of this. Let's go back to the character sheet here, and you have to try to move the body to the fountain. Yep. Because it would be I feel like it's the kind of prolonged physical struggle that I think is exemplified in the ghost has a fading magic rope connected to the spirit. Exactly. There is a philosopher named, I believe, Tien Nguyen. Is that how you spell their name? It's not. I don't think it's maybe it's Tien Nguyen. I don't know how to spell their name. I'm gonna look them up real quick just so I can cite them correctly. Oh, I am butchering this name. Oh, C.T. Nguyen is the person I'm thinking of. Let me find their article here. This I'm going somewhere with this, I swear. Just making sure this is the right thing. I don't think I can find the full article, I guess. Oh, wait, here's the full text. Oh, I have to pay for it. Okay, that's stupid. I guess I'll just give the my vague memory version of it. So, let me write their name here. I have to make sure I spell this correctly. N G U E, or sorry, Y-E-N. Really bad with spelling. C. Teen Nguyen. And they have this idea for philosophy in terms of games, and what they describe is the idea of two different people who are trying to go up to a mountain, and one of them is very sick. Let me draw a... What is that? Oh, no, it's the other way around if it's like a thermometer. One of them is very sick, and they need to get to this herb at the top of the mountain that will cure whatever illness they have. And the other guy is a mountain climber who just likes the challenge of going up to the top. And for the very sick person, they will take whatever path they want to get to the top. Like if someone in like a helicopter shows up and offers to get them to the top, they're going to take it because their goal is up here. So they don't care how they get up there. So they'll take whatever path is given to them because it'll cure their illness. And the other one is doing it for the challenge, for the experience of going up the mountain. And I imagine that these two versions of this character exemplify... Oh. Or I guess I think you're responding to someone else. I'll read the chat here in a second once I finish this ramble, because I am going somewhere with this. So the ghost version of themselves is the one who has to find some joy in the process of bringing them up. Like the experience itself is what they're in it for, while their body, the thing that actually has a goal at the top, would take any means necessary to get back to where they were, including allowing themselves to die in the hopes that their ghost would finish the job, rather than be killed in a way that can't be controlled, that could be controlled by the ruling people. Does that make any sense, or have I just been saying nonsense? I'll go back to the chat here. What if their death was always mirrored in their design? I always like that kind of quirk in the design. Like in a hole caused by their death. Damn, I think I haven't had this happy joining a life since 2022. This is nice. I'm glad you're having a good time. In response to them. Like if they died to a wound, they'd have something to represent that lethal wound in their ghost form. Could be a puzzle game to get your limp body to the top. No, that makes no sense. That sounds like a Bennett Foddy game. I think I do like that idea, but it is you are basically just dragging a ragdoll, or in this case, whatever the RPG Maker equivalent of a ragdoll is. But these two conflicting motivations here, I think, make the most sense. So I'm going to write these down, actually, so that just... Because I don't think this character sheet will help me right now, so I'm going to get rid of these. No, I think I doodled over that one for a second. So, past life version, let's just draw them here. I'll call them A for alive. And then this version, that'll make a ghost. I will call D for dead. So I think, so I think I missed something. How are you coming back? Are you already using the fountain from the get-go? Could you repeat all of that concept? I think I saw a chopper there and I'm intrigued. Okay, I'm gonna try this one more another time here. So let me find the page here. So there's a philosopher named C.T. Nguyen, and they had this sort of game philosophy mental exercise where there's two people. One is very sick and one is a mountain climber, and there is a herb at the top of this mountain that will cure your illness. The person who is sick will want to get up there by any means necessary. So if someone with a helicopter came and offered them a lift all the way up to the top, they would take it because they want to cure themselves, and the cure is up here, and they don't really care about how they do it. The mountain climber, on the other hand, wants to get up the mountain climber for the experience itself, and if someone offered them a faster way, they wouldn't want to take it because they want to have that experience. And I think for the ghost, they'd want to have that experience because this is all very new for them. They want to take in the world around them, whereas the body that they used to inhabit would want them to just stop talking to everybody and just get me up there so I can do what I need to do. And those two different motivations, I think, are going to be at the core of how they would view the journey that they are taking, both as themselves and together if you view them as two separate entities. Celeste technically follows this philosophy. I think I get it. Yeah, for them it is about getting up to the top of the mountain, although I've never gotten very far into Celeste because I get cramps whenever I try to play those kinds of games. My fingers are not... They're built to hold a tablet pen and not complex input. But yeah, let me get back to the other list here. So the alive version of them wants to... Explore the world that they... Okay, so those are the two motivations. Destroy the fountain and the monarchy for the alive version. And explore the world that they discover after death and learn who they were in life for the dead version. Is the fountain of life on a mountain? Yep, it is located... basically located next to a castle, or in like the courtyard of a castle. And the castle is on the top of a mountain with towns or provinces or whatever I decide to call them at the bottom. And I'm going to say that the ruling class does not let the people down here know about the fountain. This person is unique for having found that out. So that's why there aren't like a bunch of other ghosts trying to get their body up there, because they don't know it exists. I'm split between wanting and not wanting that. In the end, the fountain is the friends we made along the way. Yeah, I think I don't know if I want the fountain. Because here's the thing, the fountain doesn't give eternal life. It's like the equivalent of a health boost. It'll give you a couple more years, and then you have to take another dip in there. Or if you hurt yourself, you can dunk your arm in and it'll heal it, but you kind of have to maybe keep it in there for a while for that to work. And it's like, that way it's not like, oh, this is offering like eternal, endless whatever. It's like medicine, kind of like how Rapunzel's hair worked in Tangled, which is I think why I was thinking about that movie earlier. Why does the thumbnail look like a grunty from Dot Hack? Oh, it's super cute. I don't know what that is, but are these their general drives, or is this specifically their narrative wants to be contrasted with their end goal narrative needs? That's the big question. Just out of curiosity, can someone drown in the fountain? I'm gonna say no. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. Like, I imagine that is probably not very comfortable. Like, it wouldn't be fun, but you would survive. It'd be a pretty messed up way to. It'd be a pretty messed up thing to do to somebody. I'm really vibing with this design. Let me copy. Let me select around these parts here, just so I can see what these look like without the red underneath. And do that same thing for here. And copy. Do this, edit, paste, and then go, transfer the lower layer, and then duplicate this a few times. And where's the... There we go. Sorry, I got distracted again. Let me check the chat here. I had it. Assessing that would be easy from the ghost form from the very start. The fountain is the glue you use that fixes the broken mug you really like. It ain't forever, but it'll keep it going for some time. Yes, exactly. Mr. Fish is not part fish, yet he lives beneath the water for 1,000 years. Pro hack, never leave the fountain. Well, I mean, you could do that, but eventually, like, you know, your fingers would get all wrinkly. No one really likes that. So hypothetically, if the fountain waters something got into a big lake, could a full species adapt to living in these waters eternally? I don't know. Like, the further you get into lore stuff, the harder it is to explain some things. For the sake of this stream, I'm gonna say that the fountain is what gives the water its power, and not that the water itself has power. That way, there's an understanding that this is limited, both in the scale of how much it can help and the amount of people that could theoretically have access to it. Oh, that's the bad ending. Immortality for all. Oof. The next game could expand on the fish living in the fountain of youth water. I think if there was like a koi fish living in the fountain of youth, I think they would just be kind of. I can't imagine they would be having like a bad time as long as like someone's like feeding them and stuff. Like it's a nice little koi pond for them. Get some friends. I think there's a lot of. I think there's that could be fun to explore. Let's see. You know what? I'm having a good time here. I'm liking this, but I do think I should probably wrap things up because I'm starting to lose my train of thought a little bit. Maybe it's the space around the fountain that has the effect, so taking the water elsewhere would make it average water. Yeah, exactly. Hi everyone. What are we doing? We are doing concept art and thinking about the idea of this story in general. I'm gonna keep this VOD up. Originally, I thought this would be like a Patreon exclusive thing, but I imagine the ideas I'm sharing here are ones that I would be repeating more later on. So even though this is of like a very sort of disconnected, scattershot kind of exploration of this idea, I don't know. By the way, I am legit so glad to be up at 5 in the morning at this. Will you be announcing future streams so I can make sure to be up and awake nice and early for them? Yeah. That is 100% doable. I should have a proper stream schedule. Cute art also I joined just as things are ending. The VOD will be up if you want to check that out later. No worries there. Okay, but what if the same magic stone stuff that was used to build the fountain was also used to build a huge dam, so then the water could still be very healing? I feel like any explanation I give would open up more lore implications, which could open up more questions like that. So I think I will just say I don't know, but I think that could be funny. Let's see. I think I'll wrap things up here. We have a concept. We have a little guy. Or I don't know if they have a name yet. Let me give them little toe beans. Little toes. Oh, they should be a bunny. 1 second. Should I give them bunny ears? Let me see what happens if I give them bunny ears. And then I'll wrap things up. I just have to test this idea out. Let me zoom in on one. This one. Is this on that layer? No, this is above it. Okay. Oh, why is it not letting me... Oh, I have to make a new layer. Here we go. And then once I see if I like this or not, then we can... Then the ears could flap as they're floating in ghost form. Ear clipped. I think if anything, I've done the opposite and made them bigger. The ear extension. But yeah. Okay, I think I vibe with that more, but I'll give that more thought over the next couple days. I'll post about the next stream ahead of time so y'all are able to join in and know what's happening ahead of time. Make them bigger. I will consider that. Thank you all for joining by and stopping by and asking questions and helping me get this project off the ground. hopefully I'll have more to share soon. I will see y'all next time. Have a great day.